Today we're talking about miracles, and I'm piggybacking on what Reverend Kate said last week. She started talking about miracles, and you may remember she quoted John 14, where Jesus said, I'm paraphrasing, what I do, you can do, and greater still. So we're going to be talking about you are the miracle maker. You make the miracles in your life. And I'll get it over with, a bad joke. A zookeeper loses his Bible while at work. So a week later he comes back and he's feeding the penguins. And one of them waddles up to him holding his Bible in his mouth, in his beak. Oh, praise the Lord. It's a miracle, says the delighted zookeeper. Well, not really, says the penguin. Your name's written on the inside cover. No, it's really bad. So today I'm going to talk to you about miracles. And I also want to talk to you about this book. It's called Shortcut to a Miracle, and it talks about quantum field, the quantum physics. Because what we have found is that the same field that we use, the creative mind, is the quantum field. And science is proving this. And I think, it should not be scary to you. Everyone should understand quantum physics, which is operation of a mind. But it's a good book, and we have it in the bookstore.
That's physics, it works.
God agrees.
Thank you.
Okay. The table fell down.
Okay. You're safe. All right, well, back to, it's a miracle. So I just want to say that each of us is a miracle. Did you know that we are carbon-based human beings, and that without a star going nova and dying and creating atomic fusion, we would not be here, because that's how carbon and calcium, all the elements are made. We are a miracle in the fact that we're here. Also, I want you to realize that you are a co-creator. I loved your song, thank you. It's like, yes, we are miracle makers. And normally people think about miracle, whoops.
He just adjusted the sound, it's a little bit.
We think of miracles as an event that runs counter to natural law, laws of nature. People talk about, it was a divine intervention, or it was supernatural. That's misleading. Miracles are created by you and me. We create them. And the definition of a miracle from the book is anytime your life or my life or the life of someone we know changes dramatically for the better through unexpected but completely natural channels, it is an example of a miracle. Miracles happen through natural and normal circumstances, and the new science of quantum physics is proving that we are, every one of us, already wired for miracles. Albert Einstein said there's two ways to live. You can live as nothing's a miracle, or you can live as everything is a miracle. And Thich Nhat Hanh said people usually consider walking on water or in thin air a miracle. But I think the real miracle is not to walk either on water or in thin air, but to walk on the earth. Every day we are engaged in a miracle which we don't even recognize. A blue sky, white clouds, the flowers, thank you, green leaves, the curious eyes of a child, our own two eyes, it's all a miracle. And they don't just happen, they happen by means of us. Now, in the Science of Mind textbook, page 315, Ernest, if I can call him Ernest, Dr. Holmes, said, we all have spiritual power to raise the dead. But we don't believe that. I mean, anybody here? Hey, he's saying it, yes, you can. So why not? Why not? If you understood quantum physics, you would understand, yes, what is going on, that we create. And we are using it, whether we call it the quantum field, we call it the spiritual field, we call it the creative mind, operation of the law, it's the same thing. Natural law is the manifestation in the natural world of the spiritual law of creation. And in order to make miracles, we need to align ourselves. Now, we were talking about unity, and in the reading, Maurene was talking about this. We unify ourselves. And what we need to do is we speak our word or our thought into the creative medium, and we set up a vibration, and that vibration, and we have an intention for what we want, and that's how we create. And in quantum physics, what happens is they've proven that, well, for example, light, a photon, light is in a wave, or not. It can be just a straight particle, and it depends on the person doing the experiment. And I mentioned this, I think, last month, the double slit experiment, where the observer, the experimenter, wanted to see little dots. Okay, so they set up the experiment, and that's what happened. Shined the light, and they saw little dots on the blackboard. Well, the next time the experimenter said, you know, I want to see a wave function. Sure enough, a wave function. You see, quantum physics is very different than what we think of in our lives. We were taught Newtonian physics. Do you remember that old rule? Some of you took physics, and nothing could go faster than the speed of light. Not true. Not on the quantum field. And that's why Einstein argued. He argued for 30 years, and he actually proved the opposite. He was kind of dismayed. He almost disproved his own theory, but he proved that quantum physics it's like a transition from Newtonian physics. It doesn't erase it, it just builds from it. So I wanted to discuss a couple of miracles in my own life. Now, I have told some of you this. I don't think I've told the rest of you this, but when I was 28 years old, I was living in Los Angeles, and I had huge student debt at the time. And a friend of mine took me to a bookstore, I think it was called Bodhi Tree Bookstore in West Los Angeles. And I went in the bookstore, and I was looking on the shelf, and a book fell on my foot, on my right foot, and I picked it up, and I looked at it, and the first chapter was the thing itself. It's like, the thing, you know? And it was like, whoa. It just blew my mind that something other than the word God, it could be the thing itself. The next chapter was, you know, how it works, what it is, how you can use it. And I read that book, and I was really into the book, and then I opened it up, and it said $5. $5. It was like $5 in those days was a lot of money. So I put the book back, I walked down the end of the row, and I turned, there was a $20 bill on the floor. So I picked up the $20 bill, and I looked over at the woman at the desk, and I went over there and I said, you know, does somebody lose some money? She said, no, go ahead and buy that book you're looking at. $5. So people say, was that a miracle? No, it was an operation of law. I wanted to find God. I wanted to understand source. I wanted to know what spirit was all about. So I went in that bookstore looking, you know, knock, and it will be opened. So some people say, oh, it's a miracle. Yes, it's a miracle. The other miracle that happened, well, another one I will discuss. I have many, many miracles in my life, and I'm sure you all do too. But when I was 44 years old, you know, I had been told by doctors for years, you will not be able to conceive. So it's like, okay. But I had remarried, and my husband had 2 children, and I really enjoyed them. We had a lot of fun together. They were young, like 4 and 6, you know, that's a great age. Well, one day I felt very ill and I fell off a chair. Literally, I was sitting on a chair and I just and I fell on the ground and I couldn't figure out what was wrong. And I went to the doctor and took a test. I was pregnant. So at 45 years of age, I gave birth to a healthy daughter. I was in labor for 6 hours. It was very easy. I did all natural, Lamaze, breathing. People say, well, especially my father, said that's a miracle. You're too old. And she's very healthy. She is in her master's program at the University of Hawaii. Now, people would say, okay, that's divine intervention. I had in my mind said, I would love to have a child. You know, I would love to have a child because I'm having so much fun with these children. And I had placed that seed in the mind of God. And so, of course, the universe always says yes. So these two miracles, they have me in common. You know, it was my intention that put this into motion. And it's your intention and your word that puts your miracles. Ernest says, the universe in which we live is a spiritual system. We're spiritual beings, but we don't know it. We do not understand it. We are a member of the universe, and being members of that which unites everything, we are part of each other. The very fact that we are here and communicate with each other establishes the unity of mind, and it also establishes the fact that intelligence contacts and communicates with itself. So, what happened was scientists found out in quantum physics, they were studying and they found that these things like electrons and photons could be a wave, then change to particles and change back and go out and come back outside of time and space. Where do they go? Who knows? There's no predictability. On a very small level, everything is very different than what we see. You see, when we were in school, it's like, this is a chair, this is hard, and if somebody makes another chair, they can make the same chair, it'll do the same function, you know, repeatability, everything to be counted on. I do an experiment, another person come do an experiment, same results. All of that does not apply to the quantum field because everything is so small. Everything reacts differently. And what they have taught, what they have found is that everything is interconnected. I, as an observer or the creator of the experiment, am one with the effect of my experiment. So cause and effect are one. The observer and the observed are one. We're all interconnected. And that's the beauty, and that's why you'll read Einstein and Niels Bohr and the Heisenberg, you know, uncertainty principle. They all said, we don't understand this, we don't like it. But it is the truth of our universe. So, and it's beautiful. So, what I want you to do is have kind of a takeaway, really understand that all matter is composed of energy, and it's all changeable. Everything is affected by everything else. We live in a universe that is an undivided world. It's unified. Everything is unified. And we are one with it. And we participate, even though we don't realize we are participating in creating it, we are. We live in a world of potentialities. Everything is possible. And you know, one form comes about, it can be changed. You know, it can be changed, turned back to energy, and another form comes about. We have the ability to do that. That's what's so fascinating. Quantum physics says there's an invisible and unbroken connectedness between all things in the universe. And Einstein accidentally established that, even though he didn't want to. So it doesn't take place at the speed of light. It takes place instantaneously. So when I pray, it's instant. I put the word to the mind of God. I put the word, well, we were talking about a seed before. I plant the seed and it is acted upon immediately. There's no waiting for the speed of light, even though that's pretty fast. But communication is instantaneous. Like if you have two subatomic particles and they've been together and they get separated and one is put on the other side of the earth and the other one is here. One is in New Delhi and one is here. And you twist this one instantaneously twists at the same time. It doesn't wait for a signal to come over here. They're already intertwined. You are intertwined. You're intertwined with everything. So I find it really exciting. So in Science of Mind, we're basically saying the same things. We say we know our thoughts and our words have power, and they affect the outcome of any situation. So when particles and waves, and we know energy is not used up, we do know E equals MC squared. We can change things in our life. We have the ability to do that. We are the ones, we can create it. So natural law is the physical manifestation of a higher degree of order. It's not a miracle. Or it is a miracle. It depends on your definition of miracle. It's all a miracle. It's all fantastic. So the biggest thing, the greatest thing I think you can do for yourself in creating miracles in your life is to look at your thinking. Did you ever hear that story about a man and his son are in a car accident and the father is killed, the son is in a coma, they rush into the hospital and, the doctor says, oh my goodness, I can't work on this little boy. He is my son. And your first reaction, the doctor is a woman. And I think our minds, sometimes our mind, oh, well, how can that be? If the surgeon is a man, the father already, no, it's like you have to look at the limitation of your own mind. You have to think all this week, and what you might do, I'll give you a little homework. Find yourself a little talisman, a rock, a pebble at the beach, a shell, anything that you could put in your pocket, and you could just keep with you, and you can stop and take it out and look at it, maybe an agate, maybe a piece of jewelry, and just say to yourself, wow, I'm the creator, I'm the co-creator. And what miracle is ready to occur in my life? And just know that you are the prime player. You bring it about. Your belief system, what you believe is your life becomes what you believe. You outpicture what is in your mind. So for each of you, I know that you can release the fear, whatever fear that is. Release worry, release unworthiness, release lack. I don't have enough. I didn't think I had enough. There was that $20 bill. It's there for you. When you open your eyes and you look and you're aware, it's all there for you because, it's the Father's pleasure to give you the kingdom. So you just say yes, yes. So thank you, God. So it is.